We're working with functions in JavaScript this week. Functions are pieces or sets of code that you can call and have one or more things happen. In this instance, we're going to have thumbnail images, and you can set them up any way you'd like, side to side, across the top, across the bottom. But when you click on the image, a larger image is going to change. Now in your assignment, you'll also add a paragraph of text that will change that describes your image. That's similar to what we did in class last week, where we were using the get element by ID. You put an ID name for the paragraph, and then you'll just send it the content. So the code is explained in the sample page. Let's take a look at it. Here's the steps that you need to do. You want to edit your images and put them all in an images folder inside the folder for your HTML file. Add your initial images and the CSS styles to the page. Your large image, the one that you want to change when you click on a thumbnail, needs an ID. Mine is called large. You write your JavaScript, explained below, and you call the function from each thumbnail when it's clicked. This is what the JavaScript code should look like. You have function change 1, function change 2, so you declare that it's a function by typing the word function. Then you give the function a name. The name is followed by opening and closing parentheses. At some point, we'll use these to send data or information. We're going to use document.getElementById. We've named the large image here large. And then we've changed the source to match the thumbnail that calls it. And so I have many different thumbnails, and you'll do more than mine, so you'll want 2 rows of images, but each one calls a function. And you could add a document.getElementById with the paragraph name here and change the content of the paragraph. Look at your example from last week, and you can put in quotes a sentence or fragment of a sentence describing the image. So you'll add that to your JavaScript. Now let's talk a little bit about the way that's done. So here's the source code for that page. I want you to use an external JavaScript file. My file is named myscript.js. JS is the extension for a JavaScript. So this went into my head section where I called my JavaScript. You could also technically put that at the bottom of the page. There are different viewpoints on that. When I'm calling it, I often call it during the head because it's not loading automatically here. It won't run when it hits this. It's just loading the code so that I can run it once the screen is up. If you're running stuff automatically, then it should definitely go at the bottom. But I want it to load before the page loads so that when anybody tries clicking on it, everything is there from the moment that the pictures emerge. So that's why mine is in the heading. So if you go to the actual JavaScript page, you'll see the code I just described. The next thing that we have to do is we have to be able to get that code activated. We do that using an onclick event. There are many different events, and we'll look at those in the next exercise, but for each of these I have an onclick equals, and then it's change 01. And you'll notice change 01 with the open and closing parentheses is this function. So for each thumbnail, I call a different function. Change 01, change 02, change 03, and that's how I know what to change that image to. And it will change the large image, which I did set to the initial image to the first thumbnail here. So we have, and you'll notice each time I click on these, it takes me to large, so it scrolls to that part of the page, so it doesn't scroll back to the top. But I have my image, my larger image, and it's at the bottom of my page here, so just a second. So it's in another div on the right, and my image is ID large. That's how they know what they're changing. It works both as a anchor, so we go directly to that part of the page, as well as to call when they do the on click large is the ID that is going to change. So we start that with an initial image, but by having it with an assigned named ID, we can change the contents of the image by changing the source of the image. So you're going to create a web page that has at least 10 thumbnails, and you will add another line to each of these functions so that you target a paragraph and change the describing text.